All right, welcome to episode 165 of the Zenspath Entertainment Network Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Powers, and joining me once again with the three amigos, or all of us here, we got Steven.
Jinkies.
And Chase.
G'day.
Rachel is off continuing to have a life, and Chris is doing what we all wish we could be doing. He's sleeping. Rest well, young prince. So, all right. So let's talk about gaming and stuff. As you can tell, I am not AI generated, so I survived my road trip to Texas and back. Almost didn't because one idiot decided to pull out in front of me to the point. You pull out in front of a truck with a trailer. I had to slam on the brakes to the point the tires locked on the truck and the trailer, and it started to slide. And didn't hit them. We were good, or I was good because by myself. And then it just drove off like nothing happened. Like they didn't even realize what they had just caused. I did wholeheartedly get my first towing a trailer and get my big old middle finger, like arm out, shaking arm, middle finger at me as I was towing something for trying to be nice and help somebody. They were trying to get in. There was a bunch of traffic and I'm like, all right, the truck in front of you doesn't want to go. I'm trying to get him to go. I'm flashing the lights on my truck. And the guy behind him who was stuck, instead of yelling at the guy in front of him who wouldn't go when I'm trying to help, just screams something at me, throws his arm out and just starts giving me the bird. And I'm like kind of proud, going like, oh, that's my first one while I'm traveling. That's great.
Been like, bird up. Bird is the word.
Right. I was like, I don't know what I did to you, but all right. But I'm here. But enough about my trip. Let's find out what we've been up to. So Steven, we'll start with you. What you been doing?
I've been ZZZ. I've been playing ZZZ. I'm doing the last costume in Multiverses before the game becomes starts to stink. Because it's past its expiration date, or it's near its expiration date. I should say.
Rigor mortis setting in yet?
And I'm still addicted to Resident Evil 4 Remake. I'm still going through the Separate Ways DLC with some of the worst voice acting for Ada Wong I've ever heard in my life. But yeah, it's been good.
Nice. Chase, what about you? What you been doing?
I'm still working through trying to get the platinum done for Dynasty Warriors Origins, and then I started a couple days ago. Started Split Fiction with Shinoa. We're really enjoying that.
Steven left a lovely note on there in all caps. I knew it. So
he had asked me, like, do you care if I play this? I was like, fine.
It's all right, Steven. I'll play it with you. I got it. We have to go through the other game first, though, we said. So all right, so for myself, I finished Avowed the other day. Well over 60 hours. Like I was playing the crap out of it. I got most of the achievements already done. Like I went and found all of the corrupted Adra. I did all the treasure maps. I found all the base camps. I went and did all the bounties in all the 4 different regions that were available. Which I did a lot of that just naturally playing it. And followed through, finished the story. And I do like that they use the almost like the hand-drawn style of images as they explain like what happens to the world and different characters after you're done, because there's so many different ways you could play it. I think it changes. It ended kind of abruptly. I was like, I knew we were getting towards the end of it, but it was like I went through this fight, killed the person, and it was like done. Like it just finished this little war and showed the rest of it, and I was like, all right. But I had a lot of fun. Like I said, we joke about this. I know, Steven, you were very iffy on this game.
I'm disavowed.
That's fine. I really liked it. Like it is in my game of the year running now for how much I've enjoyed it. And I'm wanting to play it again. I think I'm gonna play it some on my Legion Go, and this next time I'm going to be just a dumb as bricks, all strength, melee only evil bastard. Like I'm going to just, if an option comes up that I can immediately fight somebody, I'm going to take it every time and just punch people in the face and just go from there. I'm going to side with, the death cult that's trying to kill a bunch of people. I'm just like, yeah, I'm just gonna be with you guys, whatever. So yeah, that seems like it's going to be kind of entertaining. But beyond that, I did start Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, and I like how it's running on the Switch, but God, that first 4 hours for the opening is such a slog. I wish I could get through that faster. because I know the game opens up after that and I can do more stuff. So I'll eventually make it through it. But and then lastly, I started playing today because I installed it the other day, but I didn't get to play it till now. Assassin's Creed Shadows, and I am really surprised at how good this game has been. I've played through the opening with the two main characters and how the story kind of explains, how they all arrived in Japan or where their families are from, the whole like different groups warring, fighting over it. They play with time a lot. Like you have the opening where you're playing, and then it goes to like 2 years later where you're going through a fight, and then it pops up just before that fight. You go through another part of it, then it pops up to like 2 weeks prior to it, and then it goes like 2 years later, and I'm like, okay, what's the date again? Like,
yeah, my friend said the best experience, change combat and stealth difficulty to expert, and choose immersive, because immersive will bring out the Japanese and Portuguese voice actors true to the era.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like expert for both stealth and combat. For the improved AI and combat are very noticeable. It's too easy on any other difficulty.
I'm playing it on normal. I do like how the two characters play very differently. The girl is very much of like the Assassin's Creed like shadows and assassinations and sneaking up on people. I've only played a little bit of the samurai, which I'm going to tell you guys, you're going to be very annoyed by this. It has a really good photo mode. So I'm really sorry I'm about to start posting more shit again, because me and photo modes, and it's a nice photo mode, are going to happen. That's the only thing I wish About had.
It's like, love the water. Love the water.
Well, I've been managed to pause it like right in the middle of like one of the characters like decapitating a dude, and there's like blood spray and the sword's going through his neck as his head's coming off, and I'm like, oh, that's artsy. Let me just get that in there and stop it. The filters are kind of fun. They have one that desaturates everything, but then oversaturates the blood, so you really notice that shit is spraying everywhere.
Some Afro Samurai going on.
Basically, some of their other filters are kind of weird. There's like one of them that makes the background all blue, but the character is a normal color, which I guess is supposed to be the animus. They've got one that's all red tinted that doesn't look that great to me. Otherwise, camera controls are pretty fun. So, but I mean, yeah, at least I'm having some fun messing around with it, and we'll end up talking a little bit more about Assassin's Creed and other titles, specifically with our big question this week. All right, so let's jump over to the group chat, because you guys played some shit without me and want to talk about it. Go ahead, Steven.
Already used it up.
No, I meant of talking about the game.
Oh, okay.
I know you used your jinkies. You played that early. It's fine.
Yeah, so when you were driving a trailer down to Tesla World or whatever, we decided, like, what could we play right now that is just two people? And I was like, hey, how about New Dawn? Do you have it installed? And he's like, I will. So we started that, and I don't know what to say except for I hate 5 now because I'm playing New Dawn.
Really?
It's so good, and I think it's because the story is not just really, really shoved in your face. Like, look at this villain, look how horrible he is. Let's tell you, like, how he was raised 4 years ago and stuff like that. It's
how
just
he kicked puppies and
it's just, hey, it takes place after 5 when everything's gone to fuck.
Okay, I was about to ask where it takes place.
You're there to clean shit up, and even when we played for only an hour one day, I felt like we accomplished so much because people were cheering our name, and we could afford to buy a car. And I was just like,
was this DLC for 5, or is this like an expansion?
This is a separate standalone. There's a physical out there for this.
Oh,
yeah, this was $15
they
made after 5.
But it gave me like vibes from Ghost Recon Wildlands, where I was just like, I feel like I'm making a difference, and they're not trying to shove stuff in my face. I can read stuff if I want to. Otherwise, there's just tons of looting. And when I looked it up, I was just like, yeah, okay. That's because I was burned on past Far Cry's because of the weird way they would treat their co-op campaigns or campaigns in general. And I don't know, even the UI would seem to be simpler. Like we were earning these perk points that you can get from magazines that you find. And instead of having like this giant spider web of here's all the things you can learn, it was just like, here's a list of 20 things. Do you want to learn it or not? Do you want to learn how to pick locks? Do you want to learn how to punch a guy in the back of the head? Like, I'm like, cool. All right.
Nice. Chase, you have anything to say about Far Cry there?
I mean, he covered most of it, but the driving's pretty fun too. I enjoy the driving in that game actually. And
Yeah, I actually let him drive a lot because I was just like, you drive, I'll shoot.
yeah.
How many
And,
players co-op can it be?
I think it's just 2.
2? Okay.
Most of the Far Cry games are I think they've always just been 2, but Swan's right. Like the thing that I like about this one is compared to the previous ones is it actually has co-op, just full co-op from the start. And I think it's also, I don't think it's just the host game that continues the story as well, which is nice because that was the other thing that one of the Far Cry's.
I think the only thing I get is I get the achievements, which I don't care. But
yeah, I've gotten to the point now with achievements or trophies that it's like, if I like them for when they are showing you like different ways to play, like, hey, do this weird thing we came up with, and maybe that'll happen.
Like I'd rather do the in-game achievements now that give you stuff.
Yeah, those are usually fun. I don't like the ones where it's like, I think Gears of War had one of the worst ones where it's like kill these hundreds of thousands of things. You're just like, oh my god, really?
Seriously 3.0. Yeah.
Oh, screw that achievement. Oh man. All right. Well, speaking of screwing things up, let's jump into the news because we're starting off with a bang from last week. So Niantic has managed to sell themselves to Scopely, which is part of the Savvy Games Group and is funded by Saudi Arabia. Do with that as you will. But they made this sale for $3.5 billion. So this is going to include Pokemon Go, Pikmin Bloom, Monster Hunter Now, and more titles. The Scopely already runs Monopoly Go, which is one of the largest first launch titles for mobile that came out. It is also heavily monetized. They do Stumble Guys, Star Trek Fleet Command, Marvel Strike Force, and other titles. I know, Steven, you have so many happy things to say about this purchase. You seem so giddy about it.
Well, the big thing is Monopoly Go, Stumble Guys, Star Trek Fleet Command, Marvel Strike Force. They were passable when they first came out, but when Scopely took the helm, they actually increased the number of microtransactions and stuff like that. So these games got Angry Birded to the nines.
Yeah. So right now, all existing Niantic members and employees are being brought over with no announcements of layoffs or such from the purchase so far. But as we've seen with most purchases like this, I'm sure they're going to start having people lose their jobs or be kind of cut because they want to cut down on cost and monopolize much money as they can for this. No pun intended with their monopoly stuff. But one of the biggest changes we've seen so far since the announcement, there's been a big push for people that don't want to be connected to the new owners or worry about the monetization issues. The changes likely to come. They've all been moving their Pokemon onto Pokemon Home before that feature could potentially be removed. Because Nintendo is not happy about this. They don't have a say in this. Nintendo does not make Pokemon Go. They only are a third owner in the Pokemon company, along with other companies, that are in with that. So they were able to sell those rights off to Niantic to make the title. So now with that allows, the Savvy Games Group to basically do what they want with it. I notice also, if this was kind of in the works, we have that Pokemon Champions being announced, which is also getting Pokemon Home support, and you can bring stuff over from Go. So that might have been all right, fine, you're going to sell. We're going to make this new title to get people in, and you can bring your Pokemon over here and get out of it. So I think that's going to be a big push for them. So, yeah, not a good thing for developers. So, all right, let's move on to our next story. All right, so multiple game developers are joining forces to create what is called the new Accessible Games Initiative. I was quite excited to see about this, which is great. So far, this includes EA, Nintendo of America, Microsoft, Google, Ubisoft, and more. This will function somewhat kind of like the ESRB ratings do now, where they also have tags to describe a game's content. They will include 24 tags so far, with examples given, including large and clear subtitles, as well as narrated menus. This is a cross-industry effort being managed by the Entertainment Software Association, the ESA. I guess they just needed something to do since they don't have, E3 anymore. So I guess they were just kind of...
Until next year.
Yeah, until they have whatever else is coming from that. The tags will be displayed on game developers' websites and on digital storefronts. They won't be on the boxes like the ESRB requires. So, I mean, they can, I guess, if they want to. So some publishers I could see doing that for specific titles, but don't expect it to be a universally adopted thing for all games. We have a full list of them, but there's a lot of them. There's a couple I wanted to mention. I didn't know if you guys had some that you wanted to talk about or at least point out. But for me, a lot of it's going to be for the changes with the input features, being able to for button remapping, playable without button holds, stuff like that for people with physical disabilities or hand-eye coordination issues that want to play, as well as the visual features for camera comfort, chat, speech to text, as well as text to speech, which once again is an actual good use of AI. Like, I'm okay with that because it's got a purpose beyond stealing people's things. And then, of course, like large and clear subtitles and so forth, because my own daughter is visually impaired. So that's a lot of stuff that'll help her. Were there any of these that you guys wanted to point out, or go for it, Steven?
I think one that they would only benefit from putting it on there because they would just encompass everybody, and that's the gameplay features. Like, to say if the game does have difficulty levels, and especially if it's save anywhere, people are going to be like, oh, snap. Like, because then it could be a game, not even looking at the more serious side of accessibility, more of the gamer side. If I'm somebody who's like always on the run, I don't have a lot of time to play, and the back of it says, this is a game that you can save anytime. I'm like, I'll get this because then I can pick it up and put it down whenever I want. Yep. So I think that not only just helps the consumer and stuff like that. Some of the other things, you'd have to go deeper, like on the website or the digital storefront. But I think just some of the gameplay features that bring it up, that'll say like there's an easier difficulty level or there's a save anywhere. That's gonna be awesome.
For sure. Like I said, any of these changes are good for everybody. I mean, it's just more people being able to play games and an easier way for people to determine, if they can enjoy that title given how it's made. So, all right. Chase, do you have anything you want to add, or?
I like the auditory ones, the auditory features. Like if it's going to have if it's going to cater to stuff like, surround sound systems or headphone audio or like things like that. So.
Yeah, one thing I've kind of noticed, because I've started so many games recently, be it, Avowed, I started a while back, but just Assassin's Creed today, both of them actually featured when you first start the game, it brings up the accessibility menu and immediately talks to you and says like, hey, if you want to turn this feature on, just like hold X.
Yeah, Ubisoft's been doing that for a while now, actually, because I remember back when Division 2 did that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, New Dawn did it too. It was just like, do you want this feature on? And I'm like, no, thank you.
But I like that they do that because I know some people complain about it, but it's like, if you need that feature, you need it to talk to you. How are you going to find that? Like, if it tells you immediately.
Because there's been games where I've turned it on by accident and I'm like, stop. What did I hit? Like,
oh, what was it? I was streaming something. Yeah. I never knew how I turned that on.
I think it was Helldivers.
It was. I was playing on my new laptop in the other room for the first time, and somehow it's like talking through every menu, and we're like, "What the hell?" Oh man, it was funny to us, but for somebody that is an actual necessary tool, and I'm glad it's there. So, all right, well, on to our next bit of accessibility news. That was a fun surprise. Oh, I'm on the wrong place. I just hit that and it added a number to our notes. I kind of forget about that. So to go along with this, Microsoft also announced when they were doing the Accessible Games Initiative, they announced their new Xbox Adaptive Joystick, which is a wired, almost
Xbox nunchuck.
Yeah, basically an Xbox nunchuck, but it has the full function stick and some of the buttons for people. And they showed a lot of different variations on it where you could plug it into their adaptive controller. and they had different covers on it where people were like using their chin to control it, or one I hadn't thought about, they were able to hold the controller, but they weren't able to hold the joystick. So they had it pressed into a cup and they could move that to make the movement. And I was like, oh, okay, that's one I hadn't thought of. That's a good one. So, I mean, it's a weird single joystick controller but used for many accessible layouts, which is great. And I like the fact that they do try and make this accessible to other systems to use it if the makers want to support it. I know they've tried to work with Sony on that, and it's been kind of back and forth because Sony has their own accessibility controller. But I know you can use the Microsoft one with the Switch and with PC in certain ways. So
yeah, but Sony hates their players right now. So
I don't know. I kind of think that'd be something Microsoft and Sony should just kind of bury the hatchet on, at least for that. Like, if you both want to make the controllers, that's great because they're different in certain ways. And that only allows more people, that might not be able to use the other to use one, or, whatever. Just make them compatible. It's not going to kill everybody. Like, it's okay. So who knows? All right. So let's move on. All right. So this is kind of a weird one. Ketchup Entertainment, an independent distributor, is trying to purchase the rights to the previously shelved for tax reasons Coyote versus Acme movie. So once again, the movie just will not die.
Well, because they got the rights to The Day the Earth Blew Up, and that's doing well, really well. And it's the last bastion of 2D animation, so it's really nice that Ketchup Entertainment is using
hadn't even heard about it.
Popularity from The Day the Earth Blew Up and going from there.
I mean, I've heard nothing but good things about the Coyote versus Acme. I really wanted to see it. It looked like it was a stupid and hilarious drama. A comedy and everything for that with a court scene with all this stuff. But the way they shelved it sucked. But the fact we might actually get it back. But in a weird twist, Warner Brothers Discovery also seems to be looking to sell off the rights to all of the Looney Tunes animated collection, as well as the brand itself after removing it from their Max streaming service. The streaming ad service, I think Tubi, seems to have gotten a hold of a couple of them and is trying to get the rights to it to bring it back. But I don't know. Warner Brothers, is it just me, or does it seem like they're kind of like trimming and cutting down all this stuff like they're trying to
Looney
sell?
Tunes without the Warner Brothers shield coming up and hitting me in the face, though.
Yeah, no kidding. It's always been that way.
And it's like, Warner Brothers, why did you say, oh, hey, this Looney Tunes movie that just came out, The Day the Earth Blew Up, is doing amazing and it's critics acclaimed. Perfect time to remove the Looney Tunes cartoons that people are now wanting to watch. Perfect.
It's like the corporate version of Among Us. One of their corporate people is not real and is killing the business.
They spoke to PlayStation. They're like, how do we lose fans?
Oh, man. And like, I know some of them were upset because like with the Looney Tunes, especially the very old Looney Tunes, there was, we'll say, questionable content, which a lot of times people understood if they just had a warning at the beginning of it going like,
and they did. The good collections, not the Blu-ray. If you get the DVD ones that may or may not have rot, check your discs. Those collections, those are the ones that people are scared of because those had the warning in the beginning saying these were a product of the times. But for the first time in a while, a cartoon collection actually had every single episode. Because if you try to buy the Tom and Jerry complete series, it's the best of. It's missing the questionable content ones. It's, I'm like, stop doing that. You're still, just give us the warning. And if you're going to say complete, make it complete. Why are there missing Ghostbusters episodes on the animated series collections? Like, all really annoying when that happens.
One of our Discord members had to acquire the missing episodes from my Ghostbusters animated real Ghostbusters set to send to me. That's all I'm going to say about that, though. So yeah, I don't get why Warner Brothers is doing this beyond the possibility that they're trying to trim out a bunch of stuff to make themselves more appealing to be bought. Or on the flip side, are they trying to poison pill themselves and make them so unwanted they won't get bought? It could go either way. Corporations are weird. I don't get it.
I don't have to walk to the store if I cut off my leg.
Basically. But I agree. Like, Warner Brothers and Looney Tunes have been hand in hand for so many people's lives. Like
It's literally part of their sound effect that brings the shield to your face.
Yeah. Just so help me God, if they try and remove Who Framed Roger Rabbit because it has them in there, I'm going to be so pissed.
Get the new edition that has everybody taken out and digitally replaced with AI.
Yeah, they're just talking to nothing. Like we just scrubbed them. If they would somehow
The
find
tennis
that.
ball edition.
Oh, God, were they even using tennis balls at that point?
I don't know.
I think they were using other stuff, but yeah, don't know. Weird Warner Brothers move. So, all right, let's move on to our next bit. All right, so Microsoft posted and then quickly removed an image from a possible new UI for their Xbox PC app that included all the games installed in your setup, including a Steam link and other storefronts. So I think this leans into what we talked about last week or week before about Xbox redoing the handheld software so that it would support that, but they're kind of redoing their PC stuff at the same time and integrating everything together. And it kind of makes sense that would bring Steam into that. I don't think it's going to be a situation where people are like, oh, this is just proof that Xbox is going to start running Steam games.
Xbox Series Y.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. The closest thing I can think of is like I have the Lenovo Legion Go, which I've mentioned before, and they have an app built into it I can go to that Lenovo made that will display all games that are installed on it, be it Epic, Xbox, Steam, so forth. I think it's just a variation on that, where it's like, hey, here's your games installed. We're going to list it here, and you can just agree to have it sign in if it launches that game or puts in the store. I think that's all it is Microsoft doing that.
I wouldn't be surprised if they do it for the PC app, just so it's like the one PC app you need, because now you can just go to your different launchers or go to your different libraries with a click.
Yeah. And if they start getting better with their saves where they're compatible between Steam and Xbox and everything, which they have gotten better. I think Avowed shares the same saves now. I know previous ones would not do that. I don't know if Indiana Jones did.
They went further than that. Hold on.
Well, like Forza you can't carry your save over. So if I buy Forza on Steam, everything I've played on the Xbox or PC version won't carry over, which that's still kind of happening because the PS5 edition that's coming out of Forza Horizon 5 will not allow you to bring your saves over. You have to start over fresh, which I kind of get because your save might have content that's not available on the PS5 version because there's like extra cars and suits and stuff that like I only get because I have every previous Forza game in a save on there. So I get those unlocked. So unless they just gave them to everybody, which would be weird.
Yeah, because beyond the obvious ones like Fortnite, Fall Guys, Paladins, Rocket League, and stuff, there's a lot of regular strategy games, RPG games that because it uses either a Steam account or an official like UK 2K account or something like that.
Right.
You can do cross saves with Switch. Like Divinity Original Sin 2 has cross saves because it works with your Steam account. And then Civilization 6 works because of the 2K account, and it's like even Witcher 3 works because of your GOG account. I was like,
that was the first
cross saves.
Well, that was the funny thing. That was the Witcher 3 was the first one that had a PC to Switch cross save for that particular title, and it had to be the GOG.com version, which is why I ended up buying it there because the Steam one wouldn't do it. I think it does now because they integrated in their own thing, but yeah, for a while it was GOG
like,
and
I'm all for it if they're like you have your local saves, but then you have your cloud saves that makes it so it's cross. I'm like, oh, that's great.
Well, let me ask you this, because all of us have got a PC of some sort as well as game consoles. If you could guarantee that your content, like your saves, could go between the different devices, would you be more willing for certain titles to double or even triple dip to buy those games for the convenience of playing it at different places? For those listening, Chase shook his head yes.
I think especially when it comes to tiers. So if because there is pay to win games, sure.
Yeah.
But there's ones that you just look better because you've played more. So I think it would greatly benefit stuff like Call of Duty which I think it already does. But if you
Yeah.
get that onto Switch as well, where it's just like, oh, your prestige and your levels and stuff, and any little trinkets you've unlocked through these seasons will carry over when you get it for Switch, or will carry over when you get it for PS4. A lot of those things are important. I don't like the ones where it's like I can jump in and be like a god, but that's to be expected if you're doing something like Diablo. But if it's something like a shooter, I was like, that's perfect, because then it's just like, hey, I was there for the Ghostbuster event, so I have a PKE meter that I can use to look for mines and stuff like that.
I think that was a big one of the big drawing points for Fortnite as it was growing. Also, is no matter which version you were playing, after they got the crossplay to go across, all your suits and everything carried over. Like,
Yeah, because that was another thing that helped with multiverses before WB decided to take another tax write-off, because it lost them $100 million. But anyway, was the fact that you could have stuff that you unlocked in the fighting game on your PlayStation, and then play the Xbox version or the Steam version, and all your stuff's still there, everything you unlocked.
Mhm.
So I was like, ooh, fighting games would be great too, because then even if they're not cross-platform, like cross-play, cross-progression would be great, because then you can be like, yeah, I have all the characters unlocked. Let me just install the Steam version, link my account, bam, let's play.
Yeah. That's, I think, the biggest drawback to the current Monster Hunter is it doesn't support that. I would buy Monster Hunter on more than one thing if I could just carry my damn save over. Like, it's got cross play. I can play with other people, which is nice. But like, if I want to have it on the go, I'd buy it on PC so I can have it on my Legion Go. But then I have to start over and play with two different ones. And that's what happened with Monster Hunter Rise. I did eventually get it on Steam, but I played it all that time on Switch and then couldn't carry that over.
That's why I was shocked with Demio, because Demio on my Steam Deck remembered everything, but then Demio on Steam on my PC was like, you didn't do anything. I was like, why don't I have anything?
Yeah, I think for that you've got to let it update, and it's weird the time it does that. I don't know. So, who knows? Chase, you got any series that you would play more if you could actually do cross saves?
Probably more like in the RPG, like strategy realm for me.
Mm-hmm.
Civilization would be one that I would like to get. I'm actually holding out to get on PC when I have like a decent rig one day. Just because I think objectively a game like that would be better to play on PC with mouse and keyboard.
Yeah.
What if you had Switch 2 with mouse?
Yeah.
He's on that Switch watch.
Well, what was it the developers actually said? Like, oh yeah, if it can do that, then that'll be like an easy add. It's like, well, then why don't you fucking make your PlayStation and Xbox games mouse and keyboard compatible?
Those gamers don't like doing that. They're like, what is this PC master race shit? I hate it.
I don't get that, because
bullshit.
Well, PS5 and Xbox can support a mouse out of the box. There's games that support it. So that's the developers just going, no, we don't want to do that.
I know many people don't want to see it on camera. I know a lot of people don't want to see it on camera, but I will literally shit a brick if they announce any classic games like Switch Online, whatever, older games for Switch 2, and they're like, and it supports the mouse. Play King Arthur's World with the mouse.
Oh my god.
Play Lemmings with the mouse. And I'll be like, oh god, here's Mario Paint as a launch title. I'll be like, don't do this.
I could see them bringing in Nintendo Switch Online Virtual Console type games that had mouse support on like Super Nintendo on there. There's a couple of them.
I'd be like, you guys are batting 1,000 if they do that.
Yeah, I was looking at the new Civilization earlier today. They have like the special edition up at GameStop. It was like $99. I was like, shit, they have the actual physical copy. Tempting, but I don't know if I'd play it enough, to be honest with you.
Unlike Death Stranding 2, where you get the collector's edition in digital game.
Oh, really? They did confirm that, huh? Jeez. Well, that's not a shock. We'll see what happens. All right. Well, we're tearing through the show tonight. Actually, this is going to be kind of a shorter one. we're just getting through it. Yeah. All right. So let's go on to our last news story for the night. Man, we just don't take as long now. All right. So Switch 2 Watch, our last little bit of news. We have 10 days. So we're going to have one more show before the Switch 2 is fully unveiled, and we'll see what leaks or comes out from that.
Prepare your anus.
Yeah, prepare your anus for sure. But there was 3 little points that came up for the Switch 2 that I wanted to talk about, and I thought like these are all rumors or things that were found that were kind of fun to go with. But the first of all, this is actually happening. We've seen it. Nintendo is partnering once again with the Seattle Mariners with new Nintendo and Nintendo Switch 2 logos being placed onto the uniforms starting next week, just before the April 2nd Direct.
I've never wanted a jersey so bad in my life.
I mean, you guys remember like on the N64, like they actually had some pretty good baseball games because Nintendo was involved with it.
Yeah, Ken Griffey Jr. games were great.
Those were fun. I don't know. There's something about some of the N64 sports games I kind of miss. Like,
but I
was great.
I kind of need them to do something with basketball because I do have soccer jerseys with Mario Strikers and stuff on it and other Nintendo logos because I bought them off of eBay at the time. But I was like, come on, need some more jerseys.
I actually want to get one of the old. I actually want to get one of the old Seattle. Was it the Seattle Sonics or Seattle Sound? The soccer, the MLS team. They had the 360 jerseys for a long time. They had the Xbox 360 jerseys. Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah, I remember they did some of those sponsorships, but I didn't realize it was a soccer team. Okay.
I think it's the Seattle Sound, Seattle Sonics. I can't remember the name of the MLS team now. It's gonna bug me.
Well, while you guys talk about it, I'm going to look it up real quick because I'm kind of curious now. Seattle soccer team, Microsoft jersey.
Sounders, Seattle Sounders FC.
Okay, you beat me to it. Yep, Seattle Sounders. I see it.
They used to have like an Xbox. Yeah, they had a jersey with the Xbox logo and then Xbox 360 under it.
It had the rings that the 360 had, didn't it?
I think, it had that green.
Yeah.
Whenever you got a red card, it would get like a red ring.
Oh, that'd be great because I've seen. I don't know if this is dramatization. I saw somebody like slip it into a pocket or something on somebody. That'd be great if they had the cutout, slide the card in. It's just the 3 spots. It just makes a red ring. You're shut down. Oh my god!
Send them back.
Somebody needs to make that shirt. Just give it the normal lights with like the back of the pocket. And you just slip something in there and make it a red ring. They would never allow that, but it would be great unofficially.
If somebody taps you, you're like, I'm broken.
Oh, man. So the second part of this is rumors are popping up about the Switch 2's screen. We've kind of wondered why it's only going to be an LCD from everything we've seen. They're not going to have an OLED. And if this is true, it makes more sense because these features that I'm about to mention cost a lot more to do with an OLED than they do with an LCD. But it's being noted that it will feature 120 hertz refresh rate with a virtual VRR or variable refresh rate support and then HDR as well. So if you've got a game that is running, 120 hertz, you can run that. If it's running below that, or if you're even running like the 40 hertz that a lot of games nowadays are pushing as a more stable frame rate with higher graphical fidelity, it can do it. It can do a 60, it can do a 30, and you won't have screen tearing regardless of how it's running.
Will the clouds in the sky have ray tracing?
I don't know about that.
Fuck.
HDR, that was a feature they got brought in like with the Series S, and they carried over with the 1X, and I thought it did a great job for a lot of games, like having that variation between light and dark a lot more pronounced. I remember the first time I got to see Sea of Thieves when they actually had HDR running on that system, and I was like, oh, this looks really cool.
I'm going to be spending more on Switch 2 than you spent on your tires.
I've spent a lot of money on my tires, and I got an alignment at the same time, but it was still over $1,000.
Well, I'm going to get an alignment after getting all the Switch 2 games. I'm going to align with one system only for a
while. I'm still saying the Switch is probably going to be like $400 to $450. That's the range I'm still going with, even with these features. I don't know how that translates to New Zealand money. I'm so sorry, Chase, but you're probably going to have to pay.
It's probably like $700-800.
Holy shit. That is actually getting close to my tires.
He doesn't get a disc drive, though.
That's true.
Well, they're available now.
Oh, holy cow.
They're popping up.
There's one at sale at the GameStop. I was like, I don't know if it'd be worth me buying it and shipping it to you.
Yeah, I was thinking about it because I'm like, because I think my PS5 is starting to have like disk drive issues a little bit, and I'm just
Oh,
like,
no.
oh no,
That's not good.
It's not good
Yeah,
at
they
all.
did say Assassin's Creed Shadows is one of the best examples of a PS5 Pro.
Yeah. I've been playing it on Series X and it's been looking really, really good. I'm playing it in quality mode, but I think their performance mode can do more of the stuff on PS5 that the performance modes on the other ones were doing, or the quality modes were doing, which
But
is
on
kind of nice.
PS5 Pro, there's a better mode.
We'll see. Lastly, with the launch of Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition here this week, they've been found that there is code hidden in it for a currently unused 60 FPS mode. So this is hinting at possible hooks for a Switch 2 update or something that the hardware itself could take advantage of for unannounced enhanced features.
Yeah, people have tried turning it on and it doesn't work on the Switch One. So
Yeah, it seems like it's an incomplete bit of code, which is it kind of sounds like maybe it's looking for whatever the system is doing to kind of finish it. Maybe it's certain calls or things like that to activate it. I could see the new hardware enhancing games like this, but I kind of wonder what they would allow naturally to happen or how much of it would have to be developers going in and adding in updates. Because that's how they have to do it for like the Series X. Like there's some enhancements that they can do that Microsoft can push, but for the really big stuff, they need to do an update to allow those enhancements to run. So, you guys have any thoughts on that one or hopes for enhancements on the Switch 2?
oh, it's
it'll
not a
happen.
hope anymore for me. It's
It's
happening.
gonna happen,
It's happening.
Chase just wants his damn mouse mode.
right?
If that actually happens and like they support that in Civilization, I'm laughing my ass off. Like, I can just see you in front of the Switch with a 120 hertz screen. Oh man, two mice.
Like, yeah, it's always been a pet peeve of mine. So if they like all of a sudden support it for that, but then they don't support it for other people, I'll be like, this is so annoying. But
Oh, we will carve out a part of the show just to let you rant about it because I am sure you will have words. Why the is it only on this one? That'll be fantastic.
Maybe 2K
Switch
just
2
likes
exclusive mouse and
Nintendo.
keyboard. Switch 2 exclusive mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, right.
Damn it!
Oh, that would be great if they actually did have a keyboard to go with it. Oh man. All right, so let's move over to the speed run. So Nintendo has added 4 new Koei SNES games to Nintendo Switch Online in their March game update, which include, and this is probably one of the weirdest updates I've seen them do in a while, Nobunaga's Ambition, Lord of Darkness, Uncharted Water, New Horizons, Nobunaga's Ambition, and Romance of the Three Kingdoms 4, Wall of Fire. So it is just straight up I keep wanting to say Koei Tecmo, but if this was just Koei at the time, update. Go ahead, Stephen.
It remains to be seen. Well, not remains to be seen. It's I need to mention that not only are all these games really rare and hard to come by, especially Uncharted Water, New Horizons.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to point out some of the box art things they said on the front. Nobunaga's Ambition, Lord of Darkness says introducing a new kind of troublemaker. The regular Nobunaga's Ambition says be ruthless. Your rivals will be. And the best one belongs to Romance of the Three Kingdoms 4. Prepare to be romanced.
Please tell me that's what shows up in the box art in the.
Yeah. That's on the box art. It's part of the trailer. It's part of when you log in and get them on the 28th. You'll see "Prepare to be romanced" on the box art.
Oh man,
it is fantastic.
That's hilarious.
I play these all online now with friends. That's great
because they do all have like a 2-player mode, don't they?
They have like a 4 or 5 or 6-player mode. Like you can play with a lot of people.
Holy crap!
Say Romance of the Three Kingdoms, I think would support
because
a few players.
Because it's meant to be played almost like a Risk. Like it takes a while because you have to wait until somebody takes over the entire world, basically, or kills everybody important.
Oh,
but
God.
I used to play the originals for NES, and I would just keep saving it, and then friend would come back another day, and we'd keep going. The
I
best part is you get the little cutscenes whenever you do stuff.
I've
There you
tried
go.
to get into these, but they are just it's like a wall to me. It's like so hard to get into.
For
There
me,
you
if you
go.
don't get
Zenspath Let's Play. Let's do it.
All
for
right.
me, if you don't get the little like cartoons, like little
Mhm.
cutscenes, that makes or breaks the game for me. Because if they were like, you feed rice, you train soldiers, I'm like, no, I want to see my soldiers training really quick. Because then it's just like cool. That was the hook of the game for me. That
All
and
right.
if you started a battle and you burn the other person's rice, they automatically lose because their whole army starves.
Oh, good God.
I love doing that.
I'm pretty sure that might be a war crime. There, Stephen.
This was like 800 AD China. Like, there's no such thing as war crimes back then.
They are the war crimes.
Yeah,
I'm about to say I'm kind of
exactly.
playing through a war crime right now in Assassin's Creed, so yeah, I get it. All right, next
yeah,
up. Yeah.
don't talk about Nobunaga.
Uncharted Water, New Horizons is better than
What
Skull and
his
Bones. Trash.
protege did.
Oh Lord. Sony Interactive Entertainment has published a patent that points towards PlayStation controllers being solar charge capable one day. My biggest failing for that is like people like me, my game room has no windows.
You mean you've never
So-
gotten angry and thrown your controller out the window? And then you go outside and it's full battery?
I'd have to have a window in this room because there are none. I do have 2 points of egress. I have 2 doors I can go in and out of that go one to the house, one outside, but there are no windows whatsoever. So it gets great for no reflections on the TV. But I have a TV remote that does have solar panel on the back, and it'll slowly charge with lights. But I just end up giving up and just plugging in the USB-C and charging the damn thing. It's way faster. Otherwise, I have to set it outside the game room door. And I'm like, I don't feel comfortable just leaving my electronics sitting outside in Florida where every 10 minutes it could just potentially rain.
So Sony could just do like another Boktai game where you have to play VR outside. Boktai VR that charges your VR while you play outside.
They would be dumb enough to put that as only a feature on the PlayStation Portal. So then you have to go outside to play in the sun to play this game, but also stay within the range of your Wi-Fi so you can use the damn thing. And
Has any portable ever had an accessory that solar charges?
no,
I'm thinking Game Boy might have done it and we just never knew about it or something.
I don't think it did. Like you could run it off of solar with certain setups, but it was not a standard feature.
So you mean to tell me the system that had both a sewing machine and a glucose meter doesn't have a solar panel? Okay.
At that time, solar panels were exactly cheap, so probably not. I know now a lot of them run efficiently enough. You could set up a solar setup. I think somebody did that with the Wii. Like they'd actually made a portable screen and a Wii system connected to solar power, and it would actually run. So they could power it off that because they're so efficient
I
for
wanted
what
to
they
power
use
my
now.
house free.
I'm working on that for mine, but we'll see.
I have a feeling that this is just Sony. Either it's one of two things. It's either them being like, "Screw you, Nintendo. We don't want you to be able to have this patent, so we're gonna hurry up and take it."
Or they don't want Pal World to announce Pal World Portable with solar charging.
And
Who knows?
or it kind of hints at maybe potentially like them wanting to maybe eventually make a portable console again, and so they want it for theirs, so to speak.
Even then, like the amount of sun you would need to get, because the handheld's only going to be so big. Even the biggest one I have, you'd have to have the entire back covered and flip it over to get as much sunlight. You only get about that much, like
Yeah.
not even that big of a solar panel.
Sony would be like, leave your system in the window at night. Here's a suction cup so you can hang it.
Totally safe.
Oh man. Next up, and this is kind of a fun one, Star Wars Hunters is shutting down on October 1st, 2025, with the final content update being April 15th.
Dang, I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah. So we now know that the developer shot first on this one. It launched on May 15th, 2024. So with that update being April 15th, it didn't even survive a full year with actual support. I feel really bad for people that got this, including the few Switch players, because it was the only console it was available
free.
on.
It was free. It was fun.
Did you pay money in it at all?
No, I unlocked tons of crap though from just playing a few times. I unlocked like a Wookiee on a mechanical leg, so I was like, okay, whatever. And then I was just like, this game's boring. I'm gonna go play Overwatch.
Well, speaking of games not doing well and bad results, in a depressing turn of events, Double Exposure won a GDC award for social impact. But as the game hadn't sold well, or it hadn't sold what their publisher Deck 9 Games wanted, they had laid off the entire staff, so no one was there to get the award. That sucks. I mean, can you imagine hearing about that later? It's like, yeah, you got an award for social impact. Who picked it up? Nobody. No one was there. You don't work there.
CEO said, "Here, thanks, bye."
Yeah, I don't even think they had them. It's just
he's gonna melt it down. Tax write-off.
Probably. I don't know. I still need to. I haven't played Double Exposure yet, but all right. Game Informer is hinting at a possible return or something on March 25th of this year with a cryptic short clip being released. And I am so worried this is going to be one of those situations where some shitty little startup got the rights to the name and they're going to try and revive it into some hack of a thing. Steven, I saw you shaking your head.
Craziest crossover you've ever seen. TMZ versus Game Informer. God. It's just 10 pages of rumors at your local grocery store.
Game Informer is going to end up being the game guide publishing wing of Kotaku now or something. That's all they're going to make.
Gizmodo.
I think the best case scenario, like we've already seen the worst case, best case scenario is if they actually did let them return for like an online database, like what EGM and them are doing, at least so we could look through them and do stuff. The
only thing they say is, surprise, you hate us so much, but we brought back the archives. Other than that, we're not doing anything else. Please pay us our server money. That's it.
Yeah. And I hate that that's the best case scenario, because at least then we're just picking through the corpse, not because so much of their stuff got just thrown out. Like managers and stuff that came to break down their offices just took off with decades of history and different parts that end up getting shoved into stores or in people's personal collections.
Worst case scenario is it's NFTs for all the covers.
Oh God, why'd you have to go there, Steven? That is truly the worst case scenario. No, blind box NFTs. So you don't even know which issue you're getting. Damn it, I got issue 42 for the 16th time? What the hell?
Introducing the Game Informer rug pull.
Oh, God. Each issue you get blind box pulled. It's like $6 an issue.
You have to get the deluxe edition to get the tips and tricks.
You have to pre-order them.
Pre-order for early access to read the first 3 pages.
God.
And it's just ads. Sorry.
Yeah, we can make this worse. All right, cool. So, and lastly, for a good bit of update news, the Analog Pocket got a new update that allows it to work with all of the Nintendo Switch Online controllers, which is kind of a fun surprise. I want to see how the N64 one works for a couple titles, which would be weird. But pretty much that means I'm going to be using the Super Nintendo controller for Game Boy Advance.
Just hold the N64 controller right. It's on the sides.
I have a couple games that actually let you play like that because they were designed for it. Everybody else holds it correctly for all the other games.
Those are people who like well-done steaks.
Steven, why do you hate me so much?
You like well-done steaks?
Jeremy's like, I do like well-done steaks.
I don't. Medium rare or nothing.
There you go.
That is how that goes.
Be rare, still mooing. Otherwise,
it depends. It depends on where I'm going. If I know you and I trust your cooking,
so it's a condiment for my fries.
I will do more towards the rare if it's a place I trust. Otherwise, I at least get a medium rare, but it still should not be one that requires a steak sauce, unless you've got like a specialty house sauce that's part of it, like a dip or something. I get it; that's part of the recipe. But no, you shouldn't have to just slather your damn steak. Eat it like a person. How did this wander into a steak discussion from Analog Pocket controllers?
Welcome to the food path.
We are really... And we're still under on time, even with our weird tangents. I love this. This is great. All right, so let's go to the big question for this week. All right, so what is a game series you loved, but then stopped playing only to come back years or even decades later with a new entry? Steven, we'll let you start this one off.
Mine is, I wouldn't say I loved, but I enjoyed,
Right.
was the Far Cry series.
Mhm.
It started out being single player. It got into co-op, which got me excited because you had an open world. You could kind of go anywhere, and if you could do it with your buddy, it was great. And then it started kind of a decline. 3 was like only certain missions. 4 was like only certain missions. And then 5 was very story heavy to the part where it didn't seem like you got to do anything else.
Mm.
And then, like we said earlier this episode, Chase and I started playing New Dawn, and I was just like, I fell in love again. I was just like, I feel like I'm making progress. I feel like everything's so clean and bright, and it's just everything just works. The guns feel amazing. They sound amazing. Like everything's just done really well, and it's very immersive and things you can climb on. I felt like I was like getting tinges of like Dying Light and Dead Island, where I can climb as long as I look at it first.
Right.
I was just like, where have you been, guys? I didn't know you were this fun. So
You got me going to hunt down that expansion. I'm like,
so
now that you told me it's
now
physical.
I'm going to be looking for the physical for New Dawn. I'm going to be looking for Primal on when
I don't
Video
think I got
Games
Primal
Plus
either.
when Video Games Plus gets the physical for Blood Dragon. I'm going to get it on PlayStation as well.
Ooh, let me know when they do that because I want to get that one.
And then I'll probably even look for the really crappy Wii version. So I'm gonna
I
probably
have
own
that.
them all.
It is terrible. It's so fucking terrible.
Who would have thought?
I mean, I like what they were trying to do, but boy, did they aim too high. So, all right, Chase, what about you? What's your response to this one?
So I think for me it was kind of easy. I did have to think about it for a little bit, but Dynasty Warriors for me.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't play them like when they released, but I played 3, 4, and 5. Then I skipped 6. Because 6 kind of was like got mediocre reviews because they tried to change the formula up a little bit, but they didn't do it in a very good way. So a lot of people didn't like it. Waited until 7 came out, played 7, played 8, and then waited 10 years for 9. And then 9 was a dumpster fire, so I skipped 9.
Oh.
And then I've waited all this time, and then I've got to play Origins, so I waited twice. I had to wait twice for so Origins is great, absolutely love it. Swan's also Swan's Far Cry series, that's actually a good one that I could say as well.
Mm-hmm.
Hearing you talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows, my Assassin's Creed might be on this list here pretty soon.
That's part of what got me, because whenever I get to my answer, Assassin's Creed is a big part of that. So,
and I was originally thinking about putting Ninja Gaiden on here, but I'm like, I don't know if Ninja Gaiden necessarily fits because I played all of them, and then it's just been like a decade since I've been able to play it again with 2 Black coming out. So I was like, I don't know if it really fits the criteria, so to speak, but I'm really happy that Ninja Gaiden's back. Like, it's just been a good year.
Yeah, I think we mostly stuck with games, and I think you guys actually did kind of stick with what I was thinking, because like these are titles that continued to make releases, but we were just kind of like fell out of love with them for a little while, and then they finally kind of came back. So as we hinted at, for me, Assassin's Creed is the series that I used to absolutely love playing. Enjoyed the first one, played 2, 3, couple of the expansions after 2. Black Flag was like a high point, and after that, it felt like Ubisoft was just churning the damn games out. So many Assassin's
lasted longer
Creed.
than I did then.
I made it to Black Flag, and that was about it.
I made it to 2 Brotherhood, and then I stopped. I was like, this is going to be cheap process shit.
Yeah, I did 2 Brotherhood. I was still interested in the Animus, like the character story in the future. Yeah. Like I actually liked that part, and when they were expanding on it, there was hints at it at this one, but more of Animus as a company, not as the actual person. But I stopped playing them for a while because they started releasing just a ton of them, and they were having graphical issues. You know, we have like the infamous, what was the Assassin's Creed with the one guy like has most of his face is gone. It's just like his teeth and his eyes floating there. You're like,
Is it Unity?
I think it was Unity. I was like, where? I'm sure you guys are going to fix this, but I'm going to wait. And ended up skipping that. Then they started coming back with some of the bigger ones, and they kept getting larger and larger worlds with like Odyssey and everything else. And I'm like, okay, they've become too big. I don't want to deal with these. And they started talking about Shadows being a smaller, more concise story. You know, it's got a nice explorable map, but it's not, we're not talking about like a Far Cry size map, you know, which that's got vehicles and stuff. I at most have a horse here. And I kind of like that they're going back to more of that story focus with some exploration and getting away from like, we've copied like 4 whole cities and all this stuff between them. And it's like, no, that's too much shit.
So does it all take place in just one city then, or how does it like?
I mean, it's
Without
been on
spoiling anything too much, obviously, but like
what I've seen so far is it's like one
Takes place in
one
Japan.
island area. Yeah, it's like an island of Japan.
Okay.
And it's mostly between, seems like some of these warring groups and what's happening between them. It still feels large, but even they said it's not as big of an area as the previous one. So I was kind of glad they shrunk it down some, because I'd rather have a tight, concise map that has a lot of stuff going on instead of something just super spread out where you're really likely to miss things, which is great that it's there, but like it takes so long to go through all of it. And I was interested in Shadows and was like, all right, this is the first Assassin's Creed I've pre-ordered and will play in probably a good decade or so. And I've only played it for about 3 hours today because I wanted to finish Avowed, and then I was on the go for the last couple of days. So I've been playing Xenoblade to start that because I could just take it with me. And Assassin's Creed I picked up today, and it's part of what made us a little bit late starting the show. I was still playing it and went, oh God, I need to make dinner, which is always a fun thing to do. Fun fact, it's also the first game I've seen in a while that's 2 discs. I had to install the first disc and then it pops in, put in 2 and switch it and then switch it back. That was kind of fun. Well, it's just, I get it. There's a lot of stuff, but this is also the first Assassin's Creed that is only for current generation consoles.
Yeah.
There is no Xbox One or PS4 support. It is yet, but I mean, they designed this one as it is to be on here.
I just want them to stop doing that. That's all.
I still think Switch 2 is going to lead to that sticking around for a bit, because whatever comes out on Switch 2, they might be like, well, we could put it on PS4 Pro or, Xbox One X or something. So we might still see a couple titles that way, which whatever. So yeah, I'm glad all of us actually kind of made sense of my question this week and gave good answers for it. So let's go ahead and close that out. All right. So we managed to keep the show down to just over an hour. It's a freaking miracle, because we usually have been going for a while. I will warn you now, though, when we get to the week of the Switch 2, all bets are off. We're going to talk until we're stupid. Yeah. Bring a snack, bring a drink, take bathroom breaks, take care of yourself, take a nap if you need to in the middle of it. We're going to be here a while. We got to figure out the scheduling for that, because we might be recording something in the middle of the damn week too. Because I don't want to wait. I just want to get something up there that day if we can. So, Chase, you need to find out what your schedule is on April 2nd, U.S. date.
Set aside 5 hours.
Yeah, so you'll be April 3rd, I think.
April 3rd.
Yeah.
For me.
Oh, so Switch 2 will already be out for him.
Right. Yeah, he'll be coming for the future to tell us what
Shadow
happened.
drop.
I swear to God, if they did that and he just was on the camera and just lifted it up, I'd be like,
there's that rumor they already shipped 383,000 out there.
Yeah, which I think we talked about that one. That's almost as much as they shipped out for some other systems, so that's realistic. All right, well, you can find the podcast in audio form wherever you listen to your shows, as well as the video version over at YouTube at Zenspath COM is the name of our channel. Both can easily be found over on zenspath.com/podcast as well. And then leave us a review if you can to help us grow, like and share the show with others, and leave us a comment on YouTube to tell us how you feel about the show and maybe answer the big question for yourself. What is a game series that you loved, you played for a while, you kind of fell out with for a bit, and then a newer version or other reason kind of brought you back in. Talk to us directly over on the Discord is the easiest way to find us and chat with the latest news and happenings. And the link for that can be found over on zenspath.com, but also you can go to bit.ly/Zenspath Discord. All right. Well, this has been episode 165 of the Zenspath Entertainment Network Podcast. I've been your host, Jeremy, joined by, once again, by Chase and Steven. And we're out. Peace.
Collect your gold Switch coins before the 25th, everybody.
Yep.